I think it's about whether you've had that idea initially or you've come on board with that idea. It's about nurturing, developing, supporting and taking an idea through to fruition. And it's also about protecting it as well. And I don't mean protecting it in a sort of defensive, negative way, but making sure as a producer you are in contact with every point of the process and everyone involved in the process, so you are the person who can hear their voices and decide how the project's going to move down its journey through to being performed. And I think that that's the idea of protecting the idea is a really interesting one for me, because there will be lots of people and lots of devices and lots of mechanisms that try and change the nature of that idea from the way you originally conceived it. And one of the really clear jobs about producing is working out how to navigate that process with the millions of people you end up working with on that idea. As producers, we have to decide to kind of expose the process a bit, and it's scary because who knows what those people are going to think when they walk into that room. You never know whether people are going to just go, what the hell is that? Or whether they're just going to go, that's absolutely amazing, I'd love to have it in my theatre, or I'd love to write you a cheque, or I'd love to fund it.
Any kind of producing is a risk, artistically and financially, and when you're talking about the financial risk of something, you're talking about several £100,000, and if you're talking about musicals, you're talking about millions of pounds. So, you know, this is a big deal, and as much as you believe in something, when you hand it over to a director or a group of actors, they then have to go and work on it, and you have to listen to it and try and be as objective as you can, whilst those other people in the room you're trying to sell it to. So all those theatre owners who were there, you know, you're watching them nervously thinking, what do they think of our piece that we've made? But at the same time you're going, okay, that bit works, that bit doesn't work, we need to come back to that bit.
So in commercial theatre, if you are investing in one of our shows, you know, you will be paid back, you know, as the show makes money, you'll be paid back your investment pound for pound above the running cost of the show. So
if your running cost is £65,000 and you make exactly, let's leave aside tax and things like that, if you make exactly £65,000 in ticket sales, you're breaking even. But the production ultimately is going to lose money because all you're doing is paying for people to be there, and you haven't paid the people back who set it up in the first place.
When you're doing a commercial show in the West End, you will sign a contract with a theatre for a play that says if you play 2 weeks underneath your break even, the theatre has the ability to give you notice. Because if you're paying under your break even, it means you're not making enough money in ticket sales to keep your show going, really.
What are the realistic ways of approaching investors for commercial theatre? Where do they sit? Who are these people? And how do we find them?
There's no science to it at all, and probably the best way to explain it a bit is the way that I got into it, and also just a little bit about what I think the skill is. So I'll try and be quite brief about that. I mean, obviously I was at the National Theatre. I didn't have to raise money off investors, so I didn't know any investors at the National Theatre. But what I did know, or did develop the ability to do, was to be able to persuade people to support projects.